Đây là phần bạn vừa gửi, mình chép lại y nguyên, không thêm bớt, không sang tạo. Number 13. The rule of threes. You've heard it everywhere, the rule of threes. It's one of the most famous survival axioms ever created. 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. It sounds so simple, so logical, so easy to remember. It's been drilled into your head by every survival show, every scout leader, and every prepper blog on the internet. It gives you a clear, concise checklist for what to worry about first in an emergency. The only problem is, it's a giant, dangerous lie. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the human body works. The rule of threes is a neat, tidy little rule for a messy, chaotic world. It completely ignores things like extreme heat, extreme cold, injuries, or how your own body and brain respond to stress. You're not going to last 3 hours in a 130-degree desert, and you're not going to last 3 days without water if you're bleeding out. The rule gives you a false sense of security, convincing you that you have more time than you actually do. It's a neat, tidy shortcut your brain takes to make a terrifying situation feel manageable. In reality, it's a mental trap that could get you killed because you're worrying about the wrong thing at the wrong time. It's a great piece of historical trivia, but as a practical guide, it's a death sentence. Number 12, drinking your own pee. We've all seen it in the movies. The lone survivor lost in a desert with no water in sight. They look down at their canteen, contemplate their terrible situation, and then, in an act of pure desperation, they drink their own pee. We're told it's disgusting, but it's the last resort. We're told that it's better than nothing, that it's the only option left. The problem is, this is terrible, horrible, no good, very bad advice. In fact, drinking your own urine is one of the worst things you can do in a survival situation. It contains all the waste products and toxins your body is trying to get rid of. It's like cleaning your house by taking the trash out of the garbage can, dumping it on the floor, and then putting the empty can back in its place. The salt and minerals in your urine will only dehydrate you faster, forcing your kidneys to work overtime to process the same toxins they just eliminated. All it does is accelerate your body's decline. It's not a heroic last resort, it's a one-way ticket to failure. It's an iconic movie moment that, if you ever try it in real life, will turn a bad situation into a fatal one. Number 11. Eating every plant you can find. Imagine you're lost in the wilderness and you're starving. You see a beautiful, lush forest filled with berries, mushrooms, and leafy green plants. You remember that basic survival advice. If it looks like food, it's probably food. If an animal is eating it, you can eat it too. You see a beautiful red mushroom and you think, that looks delicious. You see a plant with tiny blue berries and you think, those look juicy. This is a very common and very wrong piece of survival advice that's a direct result of our brain's love for easy solutions. In reality, the natural world is a minefield of toxic, poisonous, and deadly plants. Most of the plants that look delicious are actually just waiting to send you to the hospital, or worse. Just because a bird can eat a certain berry doesn't mean you can. Birds have different digestive systems than humans, and their bodies can process things that would kill us. Your brain is trying to take an easy shortcut by assuming that if something looks like a food, it is a food. But in reality, the natural world doesn't play by our rules. It's not an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's a field of landmines, and your brain is telling you to run right into it. Bạn có muốn mình tiếp tục chép nguyên văn từ number 10 trở xuống không? Đây là đoạn bạn vừa gửi. Mình chép lại y nguyên, không thêm bớt, không sang tạo. Number 10, the bear stance. We've all been taught this one. If you ever run into a bear, you make yourself big, you stand your ground, and you make a lot of noise. You're told that it's a show of dominance, that it will intimidate the bear and make it realize you're not an easy meal. This is a very common piece of advice that works perfectly fine for one kind of bear, but it will get you absolutely mauled by another. There are 2 main types of bears in North America, black bears and grizzlies. You might also run into a polar bear, but if you're close enough to a polar bear to consider making yourself big, you've probably already lost. The advice to stand your ground and make noise is for a black bear, which is usually more skittish and will back down. But if you try this with a grizzly, which is far more aggressive and territorial, you've just signed your own death warrant. The correct advice for a grizzly is to play dead. It's a terrifying, counterintuitive piece of advice that goes against every single instinct in your body, but it's what you have to do to survive. Your brain, in a moment of pure panic, will probably just default to what it learned from a cartoon, and that's a mistake that will cost you everything. Number 9. Starting a fire with 2 sticks. It's one of the oldest and most romanticized survival skills in the world. The lone survivor, lost in the woods, patiently rubbing 2 sticks together until a tiny ember appears. You've seen it in every survival show, every movie, and every book. It looks so simple, so primal, so rewarding. The problem is, it's one of the most difficult, most physically demanding, and most frustrating things a human can possibly attempt. Without the right kind of wood, the right kind of tinder, and the right kind of conditions, you are just going to be sitting in the middle of the woods, sweating and getting frustrated for hours. Meanwhile, your body temperature is dropping, your energy reserves are dwindling, and your desperation is rising. This isn't a skill you can just learn from a YouTube video. It's a skill that takes years of practice to perfect. In reality, the smartest thing you can do is carry a lighter or some waterproof matches. But your brain, being the overly dramatic narrator of your life that it is, will probably convince you that you're a hero in a movie, and you're going to try to do the epic, cinematic thing instead of the smart, logical thing. Number 8. The North Star rule. You're lost in the wilderness, and the sun has gone down. You look up at the night sky, and you remember that old piece of folklore. Just find the North Star, and you'll know where you're going. It's a beautifully simple idea, a cosmic compass that's always there to guide you home. The problem is, this advice is only useful if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. If you're anywhere south of the equator, the North Star is completely useless to you. You're just going to be standing there, staring up at the night sky, completely lost. But let's say you're in the right part of the world and you can see the North Star. Do you know what a North Star looks like? Can you pick it out from the billions of other stars in the sky? The sad truth is, most of us can't. We can't even pick out our own constellations. Your brain is giving you a simple piece of advice, but it's advice that's completely useless unless you've invested a lot of time and effort into something you never thought you'd have to do. Bạn có muốn mình tiếp tục chép nguyên văn từ number 7 trở xuống không? Đây là đoạn bạn vừa gửi. Mình chép lại y nguyên, không thêm bớt, không sang thảo. Number 7. The rule of 5s. Imagine you've been lost in the woods for hours. You're exhausted, dehydrated, and you've got a cut on your arm that's starting to look a little angry. You've been told that you have 5 minutes to live, and your brain is now in full-blown panic mode. This is the rule of 5s, a more modern, more ridiculous version of the rule of 3s. This one states that you have 5 seconds to make a decision, 5 minutes to find help, 5 hours to find water, and 5 days to find food. It's a completely arbitrary set of rules that completely ignores things like your own personal health, the temperature, and the specific terrain you're in. This rule is designed to make you panic and make terrible decisions. It's a trick your brain plays on you to make you feel like you're running out of time, when in reality, you're not. It's a great piece of advice for a video game, but as a practical guide for survival, it's a death sentence. Number 6. Sucking out snake venom. It's one of the most famous survival tropes in all of cinema. Someone gets bitten by a venomous snake, and their heroic friend immediately kneels down, cuts the wound open with a knife, and starts sucking the venom out. We've all seen it, and we've all been told that it's what you're supposed to do in a snakebite emergency. It feels like the right thing to do. It feels like a heroic, courageous, and selfless act. The only problem is, it's a total lie, and it will get you killed. The moment you cut the wound open, you're creating a new path for the venom to enter your bloodstream. And the moment you put your mouth on the wound, you're putting yourself at risk of getting a second dose of venom. Your mouth is full of bacteria, and you're just inviting a massive infection. Your brain is telling you to do the heroic thing, but in reality, the smart thing to do is just keep the person calm, keep the wound elevated, and get them to a hospital as fast as you can. Number 5. Using a solar still. You're lost in a desert, and you're dying of thirst. You remember that old survival trick where you can use a solar still to collect water from the sun. You dig a hole, put a container in the middle, cover it with a piece of plastic, and wait for the sun to do its work. It sounds so simple, so scientific, and so elegant. The only problem is, it takes forever. It takes hours to collect a single drop of water, and by the time you've collected enough water to survive, you've probably already died of dehydration. And in a real-life survival situation, you're not going to have a giant sheet of plastic and a pristine container just lying around. It's a great scientific experiment, but as a practical guide for survival, it's a death sentence. Your brain is telling you to do the scientific thing, but in reality, the smart thing to do is to find a natural source of water, like a river or a lake. Number 4, eating snow. You're lost in a snowstorm and you're dying of thirst. You look down at the ground and you see a pristine blanket of white, untouched snow. It looks so pure, so clean, and so delicious. You've been told that you can eat snow to get water, and your brain is telling you that it's the best, most logical thing to do. The only problem is, it's a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad idea. Eating snow lowers your core body temperature, forcing your body to burn precious calories just to melt the snow. In a survival situation, every calorie counts. You need those calories to keep your body warm, to keep your brain functioning, and to give you the energy you need to survive. Eating snow is a great way to get hypothermia and die. The smart thing to do is to find a way to melt the snow and drink the water. But your brain, being the lazy problem solver that it is, will probably convince you that it's a good idea to just eat the snow. Bạn có muốn mình tiếp tục chép nguyên văn từ number 3 trở xuống không? Đây là đoạn bạn vừa gửi, mình chép lại y nguyên, không thêm bớt, không sang tạo. Number 3, the 3 campfires rule. You're lost in the wilderness and you've managed to build a fire. You remember that old piece of folklore? Just build 3 campfires in a triangle and you'll be saved. It's a beautifully simple idea, a cosmic distress signal that's always there to guide a rescuer to you. The only problem is, it's a complete lie. The chances of a rescuer seeing your 3 campfires are slim to none. In reality, the smartest thing to do is to build a single large fire that's easy to spot from a distance. The smoke from a single large fire is much more visible than the smoke from 3 small fires. It's a great piece of historical trivia, but as a practical guide for survival, it's a death sentence. Number 2, the lost panic. You're lost, and you know it. The first thing you do is panic. You start running in a random direction, screaming, and making terrible, irrational decisions. You're told that it's a perfectly normal human response, that it's what you're supposed to do. The only problem is, it's the most dangerous thing you can possibly do in a survival situation. The moment you panic, you're no longer thinking rationally. You're just reacting to your fear. You're running in circles, wasting precious energy, and making terrible decisions that will get you killed. The smartest thing to do is to just stop. Stop, sit down, and take a moment to think. Your brain is a terrible decision maker when you're in a state of panic, and it's a great way to turn a bad situation into a fatal one. Number 1, the hope fallacy. You're at the end of your rope. You're exhausted, dehydrated, and you've made every mistake in the book. You remember that old piece of folklore. Just have hope and you'll be saved. It's a beautifully simple idea, a cosmic deus ex machina that's always there to rescue you. The only problem is, it's a complete lie. The only thing that's going to save you is your own ingenuity, your own willpower, and your own ability to make smart decisions. Hope is a great motivator, but it's a terrible plan. Your brain is a master of self-deception, and it will convince you that you have a chance, when in reality, you have none. In reality, the smart thing to do is to make a plan, and to make smart decisions, and to never give up. But your brain, being the overly dramatic narrator of your life that it is, will probably convince you that you're a hero in a movie and you're going to try to do the epic cinematic thing instead of the smart, logical thing. Như vậy, mình đã chép lại đủ từ number 13, number 1 của danh sách Survival Myths bạn đưa. Bạn có muốn mình ghép trọn bộ thành một file hoàn chỉnh để tiện đọc, xé sử dụng luôn không?